Jamal Carter never needed an HOA to tell him how to live. A black man with a quiet manner and a stubborn streak inherited from generations before him, he lived at the end of Canyon Road, a private stretch of land carved into the cliffs by his great-grandmother in the 1920s. For nearly a century, the Carters maintained that road, the stone bridge, and the entire canyon wall that protected their home. It was peaceful until she arrived. Marla Kensington, HOA president, curly blonde hair, bright pink blazer, a smile that never reached her eyes, the Karen smile. Marla didn't just move into the new luxury subdivision built near Jamal's land. She declared herself queen of it. Within weeks, she had rewritten HOA bylaws, issued fines for grass attitude, and forced residents to repaint their mailboxes for community color harmony. But that wasn't enough. She wanted Canyon Road. To her, it wasn't a historic private road, it was a future community feature, the gateway she wanted to turn into a scenic entrance to Kensington Crest Estates. She first appeared at Jamal's gate in heels far too high for dirt roads. "Mr. Carter," she said sweetly, "the HOA would like to acquire the Canyon Road for the betterment of the community. We're prepared to offer compensation." "No," Jamal replied immediately. Marla blinked. That word "no" did not exist in her universe. "This road is part of my property. It stays that way." Her expression changed. First disbelief, then offense, then something darker. She walked away with a tight smile. Jamal knew then trouble was coming. 3 days later, he learned how far she'd go. A construction crew rolled up at sunrise, trucks, graders, gravel mixers, all roaring down the canyon like they owned it. Jamal stepped outside and froze. They were tearing up the road. Marla stood confidently in the middle of it all, curly hair bouncing, pink blazer glowing in the sun like a warning flare. "Are you out of your mind?" Jamal shouted as dust blasted around them. Marla turned slowly, smiling like she had already rehearsed this moment. "This roadway has been reassigned under HOA jurisdiction," she said, waving a clipboard. "Per our updated community map, this section now falls within Kensington Crest territory. We're beginning renovations." "That's fraud," Jamal snapped. "Disagree if you must, but the HOA has recognized the updated boundary." Have you ever seen someone so entitled that they genuinely believe their paperwork replaces reality? Before we go deeper, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing how far this community reaches. And hey, if you think HOAs shouldn't steal what isn't theirs, smash that like button and subscribe to this channel, because justice is so much better when the bad guys get blindsided. Now, back to the chaos. Jamal didn't argue further. He dialed the sheriff right in front of her. Minutes later, Deputy Linwood Bryce arrived. "What's going on here?" the deputy asked. "They're trespassing. This is my land. They're ripping up my road." Marla stepped forward like she expected a round of applause. "Deputy, here is the updated property map." She handed him a rolled document with stamped pages. "This portion is now under HOA maintenance." She handed over a forged boundary map. Thick paper, official-looking seals, all fake. Bryce unfolded it, scanned it, then looked back at Jamal. "Her documents look legitimate. Unless you have something showing otherwise, I can't force them to stop." Jamal's blood went cold. Sure, he had the original deeds, but they weren't in his pocket. Marla lifted her chin. "You see, deputy, he's just confused about the changes." Confused? About land his family built with their hands? He had no proof on him, so the deputy had no choice but to leave. Marla smirked as he walked off. "You should have taken the offer," she whispered. Jamal said nothing. He simply stared at her with a look that said everything. "You just declared war." That night, Jamal went through his family archives, boxes older than the HOA itself. He found the original canyon deed, land markers, survey papers, and the century-old canyon easement documents. By dawn, he knew the truth the HOA never bothered to check. The canyon road was not just private property, it was part of a legally protected geological safety zone, and Marla had just dug herself into a disaster she couldn't buy her way out of.
Marla Kensington strutted through Kensington Crest the next morning like a monarch doing victory laps. Workers waved, residents forced smiles, and every time she passed someone, she adjusted her bright pink blazer like she was straightening a royal cape. She thought she had beaten Jamal. She had no idea the canyon itself was about to turn against her. By sunrise, construction crews were already back at the canyon road, carving into the cliffside, widening lanes, and drilling deep into the protective rock wall that had shielded the Carters' land for nearly a century. Jamal watched from the ridge as dust clouds rose like warning signal smoke. He didn't yell, he didn't run down there, he didn't have to. The documents he found weren't just old deeds, they were structural records for the canyon wall itself. His great-grandmother had built the road directly into a geological buffer zone. That meant the cliff face, the retaining rock, the entire canyon shelf were part of a legally designated landslide mitigation system controlled by the Carter lineage. And Marla's excavation was cutting straight into the stabilizing layer, a layer designed to prevent rock collapse. That morning, Jamal delivered copies of everything, maps, geological notes, safety easements, to the county office. The clerk blanched as she scanned the documents. "This is serious," she said. "These alterations could destabilize the entire canyon." Jamal nodded. "And the HOA is doing it without permits." A report was filed immediately, but government gears turned slow, too slow to stop what was already happening. Because while the county typed up an urgent review, Marla was planning her most reckless stunt yet. That afternoon, she organized a community groundbreaking ceremony at the construction site. Banners, balloons, cameras, she treated it like a celebration, not an illegal excavation. Residents gathered near the cliff edge. HOA board members lined up for photos. Workers drilled into the canyon wall while dust rained down like pale snow. Marla stepped onto a temporary stage, microphone in hand, curly hair bouncing dramatically. "Welcome, neighbors," she announced. "Today marks the beginning of a grand improvement project. Canyon Road will become a beautiful scenic highway, welcoming visitors to Kensington Crest." Applause echoed through the canyon. Jamal watched from above, silent, holding the one letter that would end all of this. A 24-hour legal hazard notice informing the HOA that construction was violating geological protections and threatening a collapse. He walked down the ridge and approached the crowd just as Marla finished posing for photos. "Marla," he said, holding up the notice, "you're in violation of a geological safety zone. You need to stop the drilling immediately." Marla didn't even look at the paper. Instead, she waved at the cameras. "Mr. Carter, please don't make a scene. You keep digging, and the entire canyon wall could come down." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Please," she said, "I've hired professionals. The HOA knows what it's doing." Jamal looked at the workers drilling into the weakened rock. "No," he said quietly, "you don't." Marla flicked her wrist dismissively. "We will not stop construction." On camera, in front of dozens of witnesses, while ignoring a legal warning. It was all recorded, and it sealed her fate. 2 hours later, the ground trembled. Not violently, not like an earthquake, more like the canyon taking a slow breath. A deep, ancient groan rolled through the rock. Workers paused, residents turned, pebbles skittered down the cliff face. Someone shouted, "The wall's shifting!" Then, A section of the freshly cut rock cracked open. A deep rumble shook the ground. The canyon wall split like a zipper being pulled apart. Dust exploded upward in a massive plume as hundreds of tons of loosened stone and earth broke free. The crowd screamed. People ran in all directions as the landslide thundered down the slope, swallowing the half-built roadway, crushing machinery, and completely erasing every inch of the HOA's illegal development. The noise was deafening, the dust was blinding, and when it settled, the canyon road was gone, wiped clean, flattened, restored to untouched stone and rubble, exactly the way it was designed to reset during geological overload. Marla stood frozen in the mud, coated in dust, staring at the devastation with wide, trembling eyes. What have you done?" she shrieked at Jamal. He pointed at the notice she refused to read. "I warned you." Her lip quivered. "This is your fault." Jamal shook his head calmly. "No, you carved into protected land and triggered the collapse. The canyon just did what it was designed to do." Deputy Bryce arrived minutes later, weaving through fleeing residents. Marla rushed him. "Arrest him! He sabotaged the road! He destroyed HOA property!" Bryce held up Jamal's documents. "Ma'am, everything you built was illegal, and this notice proves you ignored a geological hazard warning." Marla's face collapsed. "Your insurance won't cover this, and the county is filing charges for unauthorized excavation and endangering residents." Behind them, bulldozers lay crushed under boulders. HOA officials whispered frantically. Residents muttered that they wanted her removed as president. Her empire had fallen apart in seconds. In the following weeks, insurance claims were denied, investors pulled out, the county fined the HOA millions, Marla was removed from office, and multiple lawsuits piled onto her desk. And Jamal? He rebuilt nothing. He didn't have to. The canyon had restored itself. He walked the land his family protected, untouched, unbroken, still his. Sometimes justice isn't delivered by people. Sometimes nature handles it.